Hi, now it's time to talk about how to check your sources. And there are two aspects of checking your sources that you need to know about. One is checking your sources of things that you've read, because we have a habit of assuming that things that we've read, especially things that look like they might be news, are always true. And yet now people are not getting their news from all the same sources, like when my dad was a young adult and the only thing there was to watch was the news each night on the networks. Now you can get your news from your own personal source, and more people do that. They get their news from their own social media. But the problem, of course, with getting your news from your own social media is that every time you like something, Facebook, for example, learns that you like that and then feeds you more things that are like that. So you end up with a lot of biased sources in your news feed. So you might look at a thing and think it really looks like a newspaper article, but you might not be sure. I mean, there's more and more reasons that you need to check those. The other type of checking your sources that we're going to have to talk about is checking your sources for use as research sources. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's have a look at some other things that we need to do. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk to you about how you can watch out for fake news. Fake news is a really important topic right now, something that it really just emerged in the last year as really important. So I'm going to just give you a look at this. Okay, I knew that I read an article that said that Macedonian teenagers were really promoting a lot of fake news. They were earning money. So I did a search in order to find out, what I remembered about that. And I want you to look. Fake news. Partying Macedonian teens earn thousands. The city getting rich from fake news. How teens in the Balkans are dumping Trump supporters with fake, Macedonia's fake news hub. Okay, now when I look at this, another thing I see is that this is NBCnews.com. Okay, that's a BBC News. Okay, BuzzFeed, I'm not so sure. CBS News, and it's .com. So these are real sources now that are telling me that news is fake. And it's coming from these teenagers in Macedonia. But look at, this is the thing that I find really amazing. Look at the dates on this. December 9th, 2016, December 5th, November 3rd, December 2nd, December 6th. All of this stuff just emerged very late in the course of the U.S. election or after the U.S. election. And so that means that that the results that this had, the influence that this had on the election, people didn't know. They didn't know until after the election. Obviously, some people knew, but I'm saying when it went in all of these news sources, look at the dates: November 16th, November 25th. Okay, so you need to keep in mind that there are people who are making fake news stories and that they are earning money by making fake news stories because their advertisement dollars are linked to the number of clicks that they have. And that this has been an incredibly important, very recent phenomenon. Okay, so you need to watch out for fake news. But Ms. Schillingsburg, you just told me that it's hard to tell the difference between fake news and real news, and that that people my age don't know how to do it. So let's look at what the things are that you can look out for that will help you to know how to identify when something that you're reading is real versus when it's fake. Okay. So you need to pay attention to the red flags when you read a story, and I will go through specific stories with you in order to show these things. Okay, so your first red flag is this story sensational? Okay, so when you've heard the word sensational in the past, you might have thought that it meant like really awesome, but it doesn't mean really awesome. Just like phenomenal, it doesn't mean that. Phenomenal means that it causes a phenomenon, and sensational means that it causes a sensation. So it could be sensationally terrible, for example. But the idea is, will it cause a sensation? Will it cause one person to be feeding this story to another person? Will people click and share this? So when you see a story and it's about a sex scandal, when it's about people stealing money, when it's about a murder. These stories are things that make people go, whoa, that's terribly interesting. I'm going to click and find out more. So now that you know that that people have a financial benefit to you clicking on that story, this is the first red flag. If it's sensational, you might want to ask more about that source. Okay, the next red flag is, does somebody stand to benefit from this story? That is, when you think about this story, you need to think about who would like to believe this story. That is, sometimes we click on stories because we want them to be true. And so we click on them in order to find out that sitting on the couch actually burns more calories than going for a run or something like that. Another thing is, would somebody else benefit from you believing it? That is, does somebody want to sell you something? Does somebody stand somehow to benefit if you believe this thing? Unlike totally neutral news, like, I don't know, for example, there are new light bulbs that are more energy efficient. There are some news that really they really stand to benefit. Somebody is gonna make some money or win some kind of victory from you believing it. Okay, another one. This is almost the same, but is it partisan? That is it supported? Is it when you have a two-sided argument? Does this particular news article or news view support one of those, especially, for example, by saying negative things about the other side or a figure that many people dislike? So if you open up your Facebook feed and you see an article that says Hillary Clinton is a murderer, this is a red flag. I'm not saying that this is not true. Well, I am saying this is not true, but but something like that might be true. But it raises a red flag because it's so clear that a lot of people dislike this person, and therefore saying something really dreadful about her is going to be popular with people. Okay, your next thing is, what is the source of this information? So if it's caused you to question anything at all, and then you look at it and it's by and the source is something that you've either never heard of or something that you know to be unreliable, then again, you're going to want to do some more checking before you just believe that it's true. And then the last thing is, how does this story match with my prior knowledge? So if I have read all my life that drinking milk is good for me, and now I see a source that says that actually what milk does is rob calcium from my bones, and this is a real thing, I'm not going to instantly go, oh, okay, well, I read that, so it must be that everything I knew before is wrong. I'm going to want to do some more checking before I decide to believe that. And in a future video, we will look exactly at how you can check and get some more information.